the British media are really a part of like trying to keep the status quo, and any outsider that comes in is going to be criticised. Kate Middleton was criticised, but not to the extent that Meghan Markle has been criticised. There's nothing, no matter how much good work that she has done, that she has not had to deal with negative headlines about.
It started quietly. Just another glossy article in People magazine. The usual curated quotes, anonymous sources, and soft focus praise. But if you looked closer, it wasn't just a lifestyle feature. It was a shot fired. A polished, passive-aggressive PR grenade. Meghan Markle didn't need to call a press conference. She simply used People, the unofficial megaphone of her media strategy, to send one very clear message. If this marriage crumbles, don't look at me. Look at him. The subtext wasn't even subtle.
Now that some of the shock over Harry and Meghan's big announcement has eased just a little bit, the rampant speculation about why they want to leave their senior roles has not, and the issue of race keeps coming up. The CNN digital headline by senior entertainment writer Lisa France reads, "Coming or going, Meghan Markle gets the blame, and it's because of her race." And Lisa writes,
according to the article, Meghan is focused on the future, while Harry is emotionally tethered to his royal past. Translation? She's moved on. He hasn't. And if things are rocky between them, it's because Harry is stuck in the fog of Buckingham Palace, while Meghan is lighting candles and manifesting peace in Montecito. It's not just a narrative. It's a setup. And it lands like a betrayal. Let's call it what it is. Briefing against your own husband while still married. Through a magazine with millions of readers. The only couple to pull a stunt like this publicly? David and Victoria Beckham during one of the lowest points in their marriage, and even they quickly realized that letting two separate press teams go to war in tabloids was a recipe for disaster. But not Meghan. She's doubling down. And make no mistake, this wasn't an accidental narrative. This wasn't people randomly stumbling into some sensitive tea.
Quote, "As a black woman, it's been infuriating to watch how Meghan has been treated, not just because racism hurts, but also because there was the sense that we weren't allowed to even enjoy the fairy tale. The prince in this story didn't slay dragons. He instead had to take on British tabloids in a society where class supposedly trumps race, even as racism clearly remains an issue."
Every line, every quote, every glowing description of Meghan's mindset was textbook crisis PR. The kind where you say just enough to imply something is wrong, while appearing composed and blameless. Meghan's sources described her as calm, grounded, and determined to build a new life. And Harry, painted like a wounded man-child, too emotionally stunted to let go of the past. One side is branded, the other is burdened. Then came the sentence that stopped readers cold. Meghan wishes her husband could feel less burdened by the past and more present in the life they've built together. That's not just a casual quote. That's a headline between the headlines. It tells you everything. Not only is Harry unhappy, but Meghan knows it. And worse, she's publicly framing it as his issue. But let's not rewrite history here.
Because we live in a world where people are judged. Even though she identifies as being biracial, she is still being viewed as a black woman and being treated as a black woman. I read the British tabloids often, and I go and you see thousands of comments, and some of them extremely vile.
Harry didn't exactly earn a gold star for handling the royal split gracefully. He torched the family with that memoir, Spare. He accused his father and brother of emotional manipulation. He painted Camilla as a scheming villain. He implied Kate was cold and even dangerous. And then, somehow, he acted shocked when the royal family cut him off, as if he hadn't lit the entire bridge on fire with a smirk and a gasoline can. Still, Meghan's positioning here is cold, detached. She's no longer pretending to care about reconciliation. No more teary interviews. No more soft, focused sympathy segments. Now she's all business, detached. The woman curating jam jars and launching lifestyle brands, while her husband spirals in the rearview mirror. It's not just distance, it's strategy. And all of this comes on the heels of a week that was already a PR disaster. Meghan got dragged online for a cringy video.
It did not really appear on the Spotify charts. This was, of course, the podcast that she made with Lemonada Media. It's still unclear, actually, about what money has come from this podcast. So originally, when she signed up with Spotify, there was money up front. That deal went south. She signed up with Lemonada. But looking into the details of it, it's unclear if she actually took any money up front for this deal at all.
Staged photos of their daughter raised eyebrows. And let's not even start on that bizarre moon bump theory video that had the internet going nuclear. Instead of damage control, she chose escalation. Instead of silence, she called People magazine. So now we have to ask, is this the plan? Create chaos, step back, and let Harry take the blame? Because if it is, it's working. Harry is now caught in a no-win position. A royal family that sees him as a traitor, a wife who sees him as emotionally broken, and a public watching both ends of the rope fray. Even People magazine, which usually sugarcoats everything Sussex, couldn't help but admit that Harry is still emotionally tied to England. Of course he is. That's not just his family. That's his identity. You can't snap your fingers and delete that. But to Meghan, that tie is now framed as a weakness, as if his connection to his past is what's holding them back.
American Riviera Orchard, all of these other sort of projects that have come and gone. And in that, she's already sort of subtly moving on. She said, this was great, but maybe there's talk of a second season. She's sort of retroactively making it seem like it was always going to be a one-off, and that wasn't true.
No. Not the trauma, not the explosive decisions, just him. But that's where the disconnect really lies. Meghan believes in the power of reinvention. She thinks moving on means leaving everything behind. Rewriting your story, deleting chapters, pretending you never looked back. But Harry was never built like that. He's messy, loyal, guilt-ridden, haunted. The boy who walked behind his mother's coffin can't just pivot to influence her husband without losing a piece of himself. That's why the royal family has gone silent. King Charles, battling cancer, has no time or interest for drama. Camilla, reportedly disengaged, not involved. She's not reaching out. She's not even trying to mediate. She was Harry's main target in the memoir, and she knows it.
So Meghan Markle's podcast, the series Confessions of a Female Founder, has officially wrapped up after 8 weeks and hitting the airways. Is this the last we'll ever hear about the podcast, do you think?
I do, I think so. I think that, as we've spoken about, this show has completely underperformed.
Why would she invite more chaos? William? He's beyond done. Not from rage, but from exhaustion. You only get burned so many times before you stop reaching out. This isn't some tabloid spat anymore. It's a full-blown PR Cold War. Meghan is deploying a narrative, controlled, calculated. Every leak, every quote, every unnamed friend whispering to the press is part of a bigger story. One where she is the poised visionary and Harry is the anchor holding her back. The new Meghan doesn't cry on camera. She posts aesthetic photos. She doesn't vent to Oprah. She drops lines like "he's stuck in the past" through People magazine. And here's the irony. While Meghan is racing ahead, rebranding, relaunching, recalibrating, Harry is still trying to fix everything. The marriage, the monarchy, his own image. He genuinely believes there's still a way back. A conversation, an apology, a reunion. But the doors are locked. The family has moved on.
I mean, Prince Harry, he has complained about how his wife has been treated, and he has specifically said part of it is because of racism.
What about
and he's
arguing?
absolutely right.
No, go ahead, Melanie, go ahead. Jump in.
Well, he's absolutely right. I think that the British press didn't give Meghan a chance right from the start, and
The only one who hasn't is him. You can see it in the way he clings to the idea that he's owed updates about the king's health. As if the royal family should overlook the betrayal and pretend things are fine. As if airing out family secrets to sell a book didn't change everything. As if private conversations and sensitive diagnoses are just plot points to be shared with Netflix. Even his stepmother has had enough. Camilla, once a target of public scorn, has now emerged as the adult in the room. She's not defending herself. She's not lashing out. She's simply walking away. And honestly, can you blame her? But it's Meghan's quiet pivot that's the most chilling. She's not directly attacking Harry. That would look bad. Instead, she's planting seeds. Subtle narratives. Phrases like, she wishes he'd be more present. They seem gentle, even loving, until you realize what they actually are.
24 hours after making their announcement, Meghan returned to Canada, where her son Archie currently is, and Harry is in London meeting with his father and brother about this unprecedented request. Lisa France is here.
Blame disguised as concern. A whisper campaign. Finger pointing in slow motion. And when someone you love treats your emotional pain like an inconvenience, that's not partnership. That's power play. It doesn't heal. It corrodes. Behind all the lifestyle branding and filtered photos, this doesn't look like a power couple anymore. It looks like a woman building a runway, and a man unsure where he's even supposed to land. Because deep down, Harry is still that kid who wants to make it right, who believes reconciliation is possible. That family means something. That marriage is sacred. But sometimes, love isn't enough, especially when one person is managing a brand and the other is bleeding out emotionally.
I think on that alone, there's no way this will come back because it hasn't performed well, you know, in terms of advertising or any types of revenue you can glean from the podcast. It really has failed on that front. Also, there was a very interesting article that came out in a business publication called Fast Company. Never really heard of it, right?
What we're watching isn't a tabloid drama. It's a slow unraveling, a quiet, strategic undoing. If the breakup comes, it won't be loud. It'll be crafted, muted, with words like mutual respect and loving co-parents. But the damage, already done. And the saddest part, Harry still believes it's all fixable. The crown, the marriage, himself. But some things, once broken, don't go back to the way they were. And the sooner he realizes that, the sooner he might stop trying to live in two different worlds and start figuring out who he really is in this one.